What is up, Dragons Mermaids here? So today, we have another SFM creepypasta to react to. This is called I've Been Hearing Strange Noises Outside My Apartment. This is going to be another one I'm going to be reacting to, so this is going to be a good one. If you guys want me to react to any more creepypastas, let me know down in the comments down below. Also, subscribe, turn on notifications as well as that bell button. You guys never know when I do more just like this. Also, check out the playlist on the top right corner of the screen, so that way you guys can see the past reactions I've done of this incredible series. So, let's get into it. This is 11 minutes long, so kick back and relax, grab some popcorn. Let's watch this. Boom.
I was sitting in my living room watching a bit of TV when I first heard the strange sound outside my window. It sounded like the scraping of metal on concrete. I glanced over at the clock on my wall, which read 1:32 a.m.
Jesus.
The scraping only seemed to sound briefly before the silence returned like an ebbing wave.
Oh boy.
Naturally, my curious nature wondered at the cause of the random sound. Yet my laziness kept me rooted in my place on the couch.
Yeah, same too.
I thought that the wind had to have been the culprit.
There's no way.
I've seen plenty of things being tossed around by a strong gust of wind before, all of which also caused an enormous ruckus. I relaxed back into my couch, and as time passed, I eventually drifted off to sleep. The following morning, I cursed myself for falling asleep once again in the living room, while my alarm blared from the distant bedroom. I exhaustedly peeled my sore body off of the couch, hopped into the shower, and got ready for work. As I stepped out of my small third-floor apartment, I locked the door behind me and descended the steps. Living in an apartment isn't always the greatest, but it was cheap, and this place had a third-floor unit available.
I never been in an apartment before, but I have been in my friend's apartment, and it's not easy, but they are cheap, so I don't know. I'll probably know what it feels like to live in an apartment, but yeah, it sucks.
The third floor was the top floor for this style of apartment complex.
Okay, Jeff.
And as such, being on top kept the neighboring noise level to a minimum. I strolled along the pavement and rounded the corner of my building. I glanced up and saw my balcony, which faced a small courtyard/community area. To my immediate left was an in-ground swimming pool for residents to use. Living this close to a swimming area wasn't the best.
Nope.
Especially during the summer months. I can sometimes still hear the frantic, echoing screams of children. Thankfully, with summer behind us, the pool had been closed and covered for the coming winter months.
Good idea.
As I mindlessly stared at the pool area, I noticed that one of the nearby metal chairs had been pushed away from the others. The source of last night's random sound, I assumed. I continued my walk towards my car and made my way to work. When I had arrived home that evening, as I was walking towards my apartment, I noticed that the chair had been realigned with the others.
Okay, that's weird.
Presumably, one of the maintenance workers for the complex had put it back in its place.
That's weird.
I paid it little mind as I climbed the stairs and entered my apartment. My evening routine isn't very exciting. I usually spend the majority of my nights either fused with my couch in the living room or browsing the internet in my bedroom.
What I would do, I would just be glued to the chair right here and just glued to the screen and just play my games, just being a lazy bastard that I am. But sometimes during the day, I would probably have to go out and just walk or do something, and not just be sitting in my room and just playing my games all the time. But it's good to get some exercise, because I definitely probably need it.
Much like the previous night, I was mindlessly watching TV once again, when that same exact sound echoed from outside. The sound of the metallic legs of a chair sliding across concrete was unmistakable.
That can't be a
I
human.
tiredly looked over at my clock. 1:45 a.m. While I had already determined the cause of the sound, the fact that it happened twice at roughly the same time made me raise an eyebrow.
Yeah, that's
I
suspicious.
rose from my seat and slowly dragged my feet over towards my balcony door. I glanced out towards the pool area. With how little light there was outside, seeing anything identifiable was difficult.
Yeah, it is.
I could see the outline of the pool and the space around it, but not much else. Everything was shrouded in a layer of darkness. I squinted my eyes and could just barely make out one of the chairs outside that seemed to be out of place from the rest. Once again, I chalked it up to the weather and made my way to bed.
Okay, there's no way
The following morning was a...
No wind could push a metal chair like that. The wind had to be really, really strong in order to push the chair like that. That's not possible. Not possible at all. There's someone or something that's been pushing those chairs, and it is creepy out.
repeat of the last, though minus the back pain from sleeping on the couch. As I passed by the pool area on my commute, I saw that the same chair had in fact been moved.
Yeah, called it.
I pondered why the wind seemed to favor that chair in particular over the rest.
It's not the wind.
I shrugged it off and went to work. Again, same as before, when I returned, that chair had been placed back in its original position.
What the hell's going on?
I wondered if the worker was growing tired of repeating the same task over and over again.
Yeah.
That night, the sound came once again, and it happened while I was in the middle of grabbing myself a glass of water from my kitchen nearby. I set the glass down and walked over to my balcony door. I slid the door open and stuck my head outside. The biting cold air ripped through my thin t-shirt and chilled the skin on my face. I glanced down at the pool area and I saw something. There was something drinking from the pool.
Oh, no.
At first glance, it seemed like a dog, what with how dark it was. As I stared at it, I felt my balance slip, and I leaned into my glass door, causing a thud. I reflexively gritted my teeth, and when I looked back towards the pool, whatever it was that was drinking from it was now sitting up and appeared to be looking right at me. It reminded me of a deer in the woods, how they crane their necks at the sound of the slightest noise. Instead of scampering off, though, it just remained.
I just remember something. This thing reminds me of the renting a cabin in the woods. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's on the playlist of the creepypastas that I reacted to, but I'll put the video on screen. Check that out. This is something similar to that, and it's actually one of the only videos I did before the whole messed up things. But God, that thing is creeping me out.
Stationary. A new sound echoed into the night from somewhere outside, and whatever it was began to make its way back the way it came.
Oh boy.
It passed by the lone chair and climbed up over the fence nearby.
Oh no.
When it did, was when I realized that I wasn't simply looking at a dog of some kind.
A werewolf?
Dogs don't climb fences like it did. The shadowy form seemed to slowly shift up along the fence, then over it, in one smooth motion. Not to mention, it seemed to encompass the entire length of the back fence, which had to have been nearly 6 foot tall. I shut my balcony door and slowly stepped away. I tried to process what I had just witnessed, but instead rationalized it as some kind of wild animal.
No animal.
I finished my
like
drink
that.
and went to bed, but not before checking to make sure my front door and balcony was tightly locked.
Yeah, good idea.
The next day, as I was leaving for work, I entered the pool area and looked around. Nothing seemed out of place aside from the chair. I walked over to the tall privacy fence where I had spotted the animal leaving. I studied it for a moment. The other side led to a creek on the edge of the apartment complex, which then extended into a small patch of woods.
That must be where it
The
came
thought it might have been a bear searching for water crossed my mind.
Does that thing
But I
look
had
like
never
a bear?
seen a bear in these parts before.
No, that does not
I
look like a
placed
bear.
the chair back in its original position near the fence and went to work. That night, I sat in front of my TV more alert than usual.
Yeah.
Despite my
Obviously.
readiness, I didn't hear that sound of scraping metal.
No.
I waited until 1:45 rolled around and still no sound emanated from outside. At roughly 2 a.m., I figured maybe the animal had gotten spooked and refused to come back.
Yep.
Just as I was rising from my couch to head to bed,
Ugh.
I heard a new noise. There was a light thud against my balcony door.
Oh no.
I paused. It wasn't a loud thud, more like a slight tap, but was enough to catch my attention.
Don't tell me it's at the door.
I stood there in my darkened apartment, motionless.
It's at the door.
I waited, hoping that what I had just heard was in my head.
Nope.
Then a few seconds later, another tap sounded. I turned around to face my balcony door. The hanging blinds in front of the door were shut, so I couldn't see outside.
Oh no.
I cautiously approached, wondering what in the hell could be tapping on my door all the way up here.
You're pooping your pants at this point,
Despite
buddy.
the previous day's events, the connection between the animal and this tapping noise didn't register in my head. I just couldn't imagine an animal scaling the side of a building. I stood in front of my balcony door with bated breath, my hand extended out towards the pull rod for the blinds.
Oh boy.
I could feel a pit forming in my stomach as my hand drew near. I reached the rod and pushed it aside slightly. When I did, I fell back onto the floor, my heart rate and breathing accelerating rapidly. There was a face on the other side of the glass, peering into my apartment. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before.
Was that a werewolf?
It was smooth, almost human-like in shape, but it clearly wasn't a human face. Bulbous eyes shifted rapidly in its skulls as if it were a computer trying to take in everything it was seeing. Although its head was covered in a smooth, pale skin, the rest of its body, from what I could see anyway, seemed to be covered in a patchy fur. Its mouth seemed to be pursed together, almost like it was going to whistle. The breath it produced was beginning to fog up the lower half of my glass door. After a few moments, its jittery eyes locked onto mine and they stopped shifting. Then, a slimy black tongue protruded from its narrow mouth and began to press and trace around my balcony door.
Oh, God.
A disjointed hand lifted towards the glass, and it tapped on the glass with a sharp clawed finger. When I heard this, I pulled myself to my feet and ran for my phone. I wasn't sure who I was going to call or what I was even going to say.
No,
but as I grabbed it, I turned to look back.
It was gone.
And it was gone.
Oh my God.
That thing had vanished into thin air. I held my phone tightly and walked over to the door. It was no longer there.
No.
There was absolutely no sign of that thing whatsoever.
That thing is
It's been a few days since that night, and I haven't seen or heard anything at all. I'm not sure if it's waiting for something or if it had simply just moved on to a new location.
I
don't know what that creature was or where it came from. But I'm just glad my lease will be up in a month. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a better place to live. Somewhere far, far away. From here.
Oh. Alright, that's gonna be it for this one. Holy shit, that's creepy. Yeah, I do not want to live in an apartment where that thing is gonna come at me with it, but holy moly. Alright, that was another one, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like. If you do, subscribe. Let's get to 500 subscribers, and if you want more content, please go down to the boys' channels, Metal Rhino, Rusty Views, and Sparks and Living, all free channels and link in the description. I'm Remason, signing out. Peace, dragons.